I'm back with another slightly festive themed bunch of perfumes from Etsy. Now, I did order these quite a while ago, probably about a month ago, and what I was really hoping was that I'd have all of these Etsy perfumes before Christmas, quite a while before Christmas, so that I could get the reviews up. And then if anyone in the UK wanted to actually order anything from any of these shops, then you'd be able to get hold of it for Christmas, for the festive season, if you want to smell all festive or if you want to give them as gifts. But what I didn't really factor into that was the fact that some Etsy shops make stuff according to order. So this took a few weeks to get here, and then obviously there was also delays. Well, actually it took a few weeks to even be dispatched, and then there were delays with the post because of the strike. So it's only just arrived. Today is I think it's the 20th of December. It is the 20th of December. I'm just going to check. Yes. So it's going to be a bit too late anyway, but I figured I'd get them up and then in the new year, because currently the Simon's Nest shop is closed while they're dealing with their orders, and then they're kind of taking their Christmas break, and so when it's open again, either later in the year or the new year, then you'll be able to order stuff from there. But I had to go all around the houses to get the notes, but I will tell you how I feel. So these are all perfume oils. Simon's Nest offers a bundle. Here we go. All right. See, I've just got to go through things to get into it because the shop's closed. But here we go. So it's £20, 6 perfume oils, 3 mils each, and the roll-on. I think this shop only offers perfumes in oils. It's all made in the UK, and they've all got a slightly kind of cottage core, kind of autumnal cottage vibe to them. So I'm going to tell you about the ones that I've got here, and I'm going to save my favourite till last. I'm going to go through them in order of how much I enjoy them, and if I will wear them, I guess. So I'm going to start with one that I just actively don't like. Now, I again, just to start this off, I just don't like how would you describe it? I don't like popcorn accords. I don't like things that smell like actually literal cookies. I don't like anything that has an even slightly leans towards like a biscuit smell, because those kind of smells, although I like them in literal food, I don't want to smell like that, because that smell, for some reason, I have an association in my head with anything like that reminds me of unwashed towels. So as soon as I smell that kind of literal biscuity smell or literal popcorn smell, it takes my brain to a kind of dirty, unwashed, mildewy towel smell, or old carpets, that kind of thing. So I obviously don't want to smell like that, because that's just where my brain goes. I know lots of people don't have that, because there's so many popular perfumes that have that kind of biscuity smell to them, often things with nuts in. So for instance, I think my review's already gone up, even though I did it ages ago, but I think it just went up really recently on my channel for the Sol de Janeiro body sprays. Any of the ones that are nutty in that, I think, just smell like biscuits. They smell like literal cookies, and it's just not my vibe. So quite a few of these have a cookie vibe to them, and so they're not necessarily going to work for me. So I'm going to start with the first one, and this one just is really out of my comfort zone. This one's called Autumn Cottage. You can see they're really lovely little glass bottles. They have little roller balls in. Here we go. Metal roller balls. They're really nice quality. And okay, so Autumn Cottage. So I went and did it via Google, and I found the notes. So top notes here: campfire toasted marshmallow and freshly baked spiced bread. Heart notes: aromatic tonka bean infusion and autumnal spices. Base notes: vanilla bean and fresh brewed coffee. Now, there is something about, firstly, I ordered something that has a bread note in it. I never quite know what I'm going to get. Sometimes when there's a cookie accord, it doesn't smell like a literal cookie. It's like a perfume version of a cookie. And sometimes things like bread or things like popcorn, sometimes, and especially nuts, they don't necessarily smell edible. They smell yummy, but they don't smell necessarily edible. So sometimes I'll just take a chance anyway. I just want to see what I get. This one is a very literal bread smell and quite a literal coffee smell. But for some reason, the two of those mixed together with the spices smells very savoury to me. Very savoury indeed, in a way that reminds me of smoky bacon. I'm not saying this straight up smells like bacon, but there's something about that bread smell with the bitter coffee smell and the spices that just make it, yeah, I mean, it just smells way too savoury for my liking. Now, I'm sure there's lots of other people who like this, and there are reviews of this and people do like it. So again, that's quite a personal thing. You do get the sweet notes in the much deeper dry down. It gets sweeter and sweeter, but it takes a long time for that kind of savoury note to dissipate. Basically you're talking about when it's wearing off. That's when that goes. So I can't wear this one. I have tried it on my skin. I can't get on with this one. But obviously, there are other ones to talk about, so let's move on. So, I actually ordered one called Yuletide Creepings, and the notes in Yuletide Creepings were black cherry, cranberry and orange, toasted marshmallow and brandy, clove, pipe tobacco and aged parchment. I was actually really excited about this one. I thought it sounded really interesting, but sadly I didn't get that one. That's the one that was missing from the bundle, and instead I have one that, bearing in mind everything that I just said, obviously I wasn't going to like, because this is gingerbread. So gingerbread obviously is going to have that kind of gourmand thing going on that I'm not keen on. I will read you the notes though, and I'll give it a sniff and see if I can describe it. So top notes of lemon peel and warming ginger, heart notes of fresh baked gingerbread, sweet vanilla and cardamom spice. Base notes are benzoin resin, smoky birch tar and a splash of bourbon. So okay, let's just try and get my silky bed sheets to okay. Yeah, I mean this one smells very literal, and actually maybe less like well, actually that's a good point, because when I hear gingerbread I still have a thing where I think of like Jamaican ginger cake, like actual gingerbread, but obviously this is biscuity. And it really does smell like a ginger biscuit. I'm going to put this one on my skin a little bit just to see how it develops. But my memory of this one is it stays quite biscuity. I mean, very realistic gingerbread smell. Now, I've had a gingerbread in the past from Demeter, which I sold because, again, it was too bready for me. And that's one of the ones that helped me discover that I really don't like that sort of gourmand, you know, like a bready or biscuity or popcorny kind of smell. But I have to say this one's pretty good in terms of actually smelling like gingerbread. So if you do, I think it's actually called gingerbread. That's pretty cool. Sorry, I was reading it as gingerbread, but I think it's called gingerbread. For goodness sake, gingerbread. Because it says this spooky bakery-inspired unisex fragrance is hand-blended alongside my gingerbread series of paintings. So there you go. Okay, yep. Oh, and I should say, I've got this little bit from the shop here. So it says made with essential oils, fragrance oils and jojoba oils, suitable for vegans, and it says to shake before use. So yeah, this is just one again that the gingerbread in it is too literal for me. So the more it dries down, the kind of more wearable it is to me. This one retains that kind of savoury smell that I didn't enjoy, but gingerbread is a bit more I'm really fighting a losing battle to keep these here. Gingerbread is much kind of easier to wear for me. It gets kind of sweeter, and in fact, to be honest, like the very deep dry down of all of these is really quite nice. But again, this isn't my favourite because I'm just not keen on that biscuit note. So what have we got next? The next one, I am hoping that Yuletide Creepings will turn up at some point, and then I'll be able to talk to you about that because I think that one sounds really interesting. So, Clove Embers. Now, Clove Embers we're starting to get closer to the kind of thing that I like. Again, I'm just going to put a tiny bit of this on my arm. None of these are like overwhelmingly strong. They're not absolutely beastly by any means. Yeah, this one still has, and I'm not sure where it's coming from with this, because, okay, so Clove Embers, the notes, top notes, clove, tobacco leaf and baked apple. Heart notes, bonfire smoke and toasted marshmallows. Base notes, smoked birch and vanilla bourbon. And I don't know if it's because there's a baked apple and there's something in there. Again, there's something slightly biscuity in here, which I wasn't expecting from this one. Obviously, you'd expect it with something that has bread or biscuits in it, but it's not unbearable. I could totally wear this one. I think it's quite fruity. You get a nice bit of apple in it. You definitely get a slight vanilla and a slight sweetness, a little bit of smokiness. The tobacco's really sweet. Super wearable, really nice. This is kind of leaning towards more of a kind of Maison Margiela, the kind of replica style perfumes, you know, that kind of, it's not really woody, but it's a bit like smoky. It's really nice. This Clove Embers, I think, is really nice. It just still has a little bit of a biscuity smell that is not my favourite, you know. So then the next one, let's have a little look. Trick or Treat is the next one. So, and again, we're edging closer to my kind of vibe here. I'm actually wearing Yog Nog by Lush today, so these are all kind of complementing it quite well, to be honest. I should put a little bit on my hand. This one has quite a colour to the oil. Okay. Yeah, so this one I like. This is one of the ones that's living next to my bed at the moment. So, top notes here are fruity jelly beans and freshly carved jack-o'-lanterns. Heart notes are salted caramel, vanilla bourbon and cinnamon spice. Base notes are black pepper, licorice and rich vanilla absolute. Still with this one, but I think this time it's more to do with the pumpkin-y jack-o'-lantern smell, because I have a feeling that there's something here that's supposed to smell partly like a pumpkin, but maybe like a pumpkin with a candle in it, so slightly baked pumpkin. But this one's really pretty. I definitely get that fruity jelly bean vibe, which is really nice. The licorice is not at all overpowering. I don't smell a huge amount of licorice. And I don't smell a horrible amount of black pepper. I've got the kind of the sweetness, the bourbon. I've got vanilla bourbon definitely, and definitely cinnamon spice. I'm not getting a huge amount of salted caramel. And like I said, yeah, the black pepper and licorice. Just a bit of warmth, I think. But the dry down of this one is also very pretty, super wearable. These are all the kind of smells that if you wore them for snuggling, like, your partner would probably love them. But the black pepper comes through a little bit more, but again, it's not really peppery. It's like a beautiful warmth that when you know it's black pepper, you can recognise it as being black pepper. But it's not, because I'm so fussy about pepper. Like, there's some perfumes I can't wear because of the pepper. So, I mean, it tends to be pink pepper though, generally. I think black pepper is a warmer, easier spice. But for instance, I can't wear Salvatore Ferragamo Signorita, is it called? The original of that, because the pink pepper in that just massively overwhelms the perfume for me. But this one, warm, comfy, pretty. I really like Trick or Treat. I think it's lovely. And then, so the next one up is, oh, it's so fruity. It's really pretty. The first thing I thought of when I smelt this was Ribena, and that's a good thing for me. So this one's called Wistful Hedgerows. And Wistful Hedgerows is a lovely, fruity, bright, happy smell, I would describe this one as. Super happy, slight greenness. So the top notes here are ripe blackberry, dewberry and sweet plum. Heart notes of fresh vanilla pod infusion and amber. Base notes cinnamon and clove. Yeah, it's got a lovely kind of I mean, it's jammy, you know. It's kind of got a brightness, but it's also a bit jammy because it's very sweet. It's warm. The cinnamon and clove in this one, I think, are really low key. I think that those top notes are the main event here. Oh, and I really like this one. I think it's absolutely yummy. And it does, I mean, ever so slightly remind me of Dewberry from the Body Shop, but in a kind of much more autumnal way. Really pretty, really like it. That was the one that I sort of knew immediately I was onto a winner with, you know. But randomly, my favourite one. Now, this one starts with a biscuity accord, which I didn't think I'd be able to get past. I had this in one of my What I Wore Last Week videos, and I didn't have the notes for it at that point, but like I said, since then I have done a real search for those notes. And now I have them and I understand why, firstly, why I ordered this one, and secondly, why it's my favourite, and thirdly, why there's a slight biscuit accord. So this is called Still Beating Heart. And Still Beating Heart, what beautiful notes. So here we have top notes, bergamot and passion flower, heart notes of damask rose, base notes of vanilla absolute, and sweet almond macaron. So this has, when I first smelt this, I was like, it's got like a kind of fruity vibe to it, but it's very sweet, and it made me think of marzipan, but it made me think of like a cookie at first. So it has that slight cookie smell. But now that I know it's macaron, I'm getting my brain around the fact that there is like a gourmand biscuit smell when I first put this on. And I don't like that biscuit accord at all, but it doesn't last. Hallelujah. It dries down, and I wouldn't have recognised it as rose, but I feel like it's more like a kind of, if you get like a rose jam, if you see what I mean. And I don't mean literal rose jam from the from Lush. It doesn't actually smell like rose jam from Lush. What I mean is if you had a rose scented jam, because there's something really sweet about this. It must be to do with the bergamot and the passion flower, I'm not sure, but it's, or maybe it kind of, if you had an almond macaron, so if you had like a pink macaron with a rose scented like berry jam in the middle, like maybe like a raspberry one or something. It's absolutely addictive, this one. I'm obsessed. I'm keeping this next to my bed, and I've been wearing it before bed because it's so sweet and cozy. It is just, honestly, I really would like a proper what's it called, a marzipan perfume, and I've actually got one on the way that I'm hoping will be a kind of marzipan. But Still Beating Heart definitely has that marzipan vibe in the dry down, and it's absolutely delicious. I love Still Beating Heart. Of all of these, that's the one that I would go for the biggest bottle of. When you first put it on, like I said, it has that biscuity accord, and then it dries down, and it really is like the smell of an almond macaron with a rose, maybe like a rose and raspberry jam, and it's not massively strong, but it lasts. I can't smell it in the morning when I wake up, but if it hits any of my clothes, like my dressing gown or whatever, when I've got it on, it will last on there a bit longer. It maybe will last for about 4 hours on me. That's probably just in this cold weather. I don't know whether it will be warmer, like in warmer weather it might last longer, but I don't care. They're not massively expensive. You can get these for incredibly good prices, and they're so small, you could take this with you everywhere. You could take this little one with you everywhere. I think the bigger ones, you know, you could also take with you really easily. These have never leaked. They've been in all kinds of positions, being delivered, and just while I've been moving around my bedroom before I did this review. I mean, I absolutely love this one. And I'd said in my What I Wore Last Week that I kind of fallen in love with it, but I didn't know if I'd be able to deal with the biscuit accord. I have dealt with that biscuity smell. It doesn't last long enough for it to bother me. I just sort of have to deal with it and get over it when I first put it on. But it in way less than 5 minutes, that smell has gone, and it just smells edible. in the way that I like, in that it has like a marzipan smell to it. Really pretty, and not Play-Doh at all. Absolutely edible, sweet, beautiful, almondy, beautiful smell. I'm really digging it. I really like Still Beating Heart. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on Yuletide Creepings, because I think that one, in a way, sounds like the most interesting of everything that I ordered. So I'm hoping that the lovely lady is called Autumn Simons. From Simon's Nest. So I'm hoping she'll see my message soon, and I said I'm in no rush, but sometime in the new year, hopefully you'll see it in one of my How Did This Get Made? That's a podcast that I really enjoy, not How Did This Get Made? You will see it in what I wore last week. And I'll be able to let you know how I feel about it, because I mean, it just sounds so good. I'm just going to look at it again. Black cherry, cranberry and orange, toasted marshmallow and brandy, clove, pipe tobacco and aged parchment. It sounds amazing. And in fact, let's be real, that is the reason I found this shop, because I was looking for perfumes with a black cherry note specifically, and that's why I ordered this batch. So it's a little bit unfortunate that it's the only one that didn't turn up, but I've been trying to find a lovely black cherry perfume. It's really hard to find perfumes that have a specific black cherry note. It's certainly very difficult to find one that's affordable. So I'm really hoping Yuletide Creepings will turn up, and I will be able to let you know how it smells. But I think these are really lovely. Absolutely my favourite just overall. This one's beautiful for a lovely bright fruity smell. This one is really very wearable for a very Christmassy scent, but Trick or Treat I think is also really great. These are the only two that I'm really not very keen on, and they're just not my kind of perfumes, but I think these four are definitely staying with me, and I will just donate these to someone I love who likes those kind of more foodie, bready, biscuity accords, But yeah, so really fun to try them, and I bought these myself. No one's asked me to say anything about these, so I'm just telling you guys, they're an absolute bargain. You can literally go on, and when the shop's open again, try 6 of these little 3 mils. And it's going to cost you 20 quid and a bit of postage and packing, so it's just amazing, really.